What if we just sit here in silence for the next 38 minutes?
I like it. I really need to finish this article, so.
So maybe we will sit here in silence.
I got up at 6:30. I went for a walk. I got all gross because it's like hot and humid and disgusting out. Been writing all morning. Still not done with this stupid thing I'm writing. I haven't showered or shaved. It's disgusting. Anyway, let's do a show.
Wow.
It's not what I want. I wanted to get my hair cut.
It's a good thing. It's what all the cool kids are doing. It's what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Friendly greetings from Costa Rica. I bet it's probably just as hot there, but at least you're potentially near.
It's definitely just as humid.
Yeah. You're potentially near water, though, which would be nice.
Yeah, that's true. That would be good. It's raining. Does that count?
One more minute here. Get everything set up. Oh, it says the beach is about 2 hours away by car. Well, that's closer than the beach is to me.
Oh, Mehdi. Wow.
You ready?
Sure.
See, Paul, you say I'm such a jerk, but I asked if you were ready this time.
Yeah, but you were going to start it if I said no.
Let's not pick at the details.
I mean, all you are is on time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I like to be on time and efficient and kick things off when they're supposed to. And so here we are.
Just happy that 1 o'clock was not a surprise to me today, as it is so often. Like I actually saw this one coming at least. Sometimes you ping me and you're like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Oh, for frick's sake!" But today, yeah.
Today you're ready. That's a good thing because it's a holiday weekend. No show Monday for those who are expecting a show Monday. There's not going to be one unless something, I don't know, happens over the weekend, but not counting on that.
Yep.
Anyways, so Microsoft announced this, which I'm somewhat surprised it wasn't exactly happening. They announced that a jellyfish is coming to the Xbox One.
Yeah, exactly. I was like looking at that, like, what did they announce? They announced that? But this is the HDR Dolby Vision thing on Xbox, I take it.
Yes, which I think this TV should support that. I mean, it's
Dolby Vision. That's a good question. I hope it does.
I hope it does too.
Yeah.
Because at one point here, I'm hoping that this thing turns into a Surface Hub 2, and then this thing goes upstairs into our living room where it
belongs.
Yeah. Where it belongs. Actually, so we can watch all the kid shows that my kid likes to watch.
One day if you just replace that thing behind you with like a 13-inch LCD display, I wonder if anyone would even notice.
I don't know. Football season kicks off this weekend, and
yep.
Maybe we'll find out on Tuesday what happens to
the
display. So anyway, if you've been looking forward to Dolby Vision and all that HDR goodness, it is coming to the Xbox One. And I didn't even read the post. I'm assuming it's just going to come via an update.
Yeah, I believe it's actually available now to insiders. Yeah, my Xbox One X is not on a PC that supports it, so I don't even know what I'm looking for because I'm not going to find anything, but it's not going to be there. But I'll look.
Yeah, it'll be I wonder. I actually honestly kind of wonder how many people will know or even notice.
Yeah, actually it does say. So this is not a 4K display, but there are options for 4K, HDR10, and Dolby Vision, and none of them are selectable because this is a 2160p or I guess you call it a 1440p, whatever the display. I don't know. It's not. It's higher than 1080p, lower than 4K.
So it's kind of good, but not really great.
Well, the Xbox does natively. Yeah, it's 1440p. It does natively support it,
which is good.
Which is good. I've never noticed any benefit to it though. Like it doesn't look any different to me than 1080p.
Yeah, you can just look at your dead body in Call of Duty in slightly better lighting.
Right. Watch as I get teabagged by some guy on the other team. It's good. Yep. Sorry.
Moving along from that graphic thing, Microsoft came out with the most boring but completely expected name today for Redstone 5, called the October 2018 update. Or
I think it's the appropriate name, right?
No,
and not just,
agree.
You know, I don't have any complaints about it. There is some speculation about the next release, right? Which has dropped their Redstone naming for the code name and is referred to now as 1H. I always have to think 1H19, right? Because it's going to come out in the first half of 2019. And so many are speculating that Microsoft is going to move to this new name so that when it comes out, it will actually be called Windows 10 version 1H19. But I was thinking about it today. You know, using that name now suggests that it's only a code name, like we would have used Redstone 6 previously. I suspect it was driven by the new owners of the Windows 10 development stuff, which meaning the Azure team, who are a little more, engineering and a lot less Ninja Caddy, if you will. And I expect them to be consistent. Now, the question is whether that consistency means with previous versions of Windows 10 or with the other products that are kind of aligned with Windows 10. And that could mean either Windows Server, which is just like Windows Server version 2019, I guess, or just Windows Server 2019, or the other stuff in Microsoft 365, right? Which doesn't really have versions per se, I realize they must really have versions, but, because they're mostly online services, you don't really, like Office 365 doesn't have a version.
Yeah.
Office, the suite does. It's, on-premises software, but, the management stuff, which actually in some ways doesn't even have a name or, has different names for different parts of it. But some of that has versions, sort of. Some of it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, so I bet they don't change the versioning. I bet this is just a code name. And someone in the right frame of mind said, enough of this stupid, what is this? This is just dumb,
So you're saying the Fall Creators Update version 2, we really mean it this time, edition wasn't going to fly?
Not a good name. No, not a good name. I refer to, remember they had the Creators Update, and then the Fall Creators Update was the next one. And I sort of described that as an apology for the first Creators Update. Like, here's the rest of it.
Yeah.
6 months later.
Yep. Yeah. It never really got super creative either. I don't.
Yeah. The only thing creative about it was how they pretended it was a big deal. I don't I don't quite understand it. I like the way this year's gone for Windows 10. I mean, as far as these two releases, right? Like the naming is right. The mix of new features and everything is right.
Yeah. It's just basic, and just keep moving forward and don't shoot any fireworks off in our face.
Yeah, right. Like there's no reason for false enthusiasm. Like you're fixing problems. It's great. You're adding some important, largely productivity related functionality. Fantastic. We don't have to have a little emoji slideshow to celebrate it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's, I hear my dog romping around upstairs, and it reminds me of what I did this morning, Paul.
Okay.
So we have Nest smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector things or whatever. And so they test themselves once a month. And usually it does that when you're not home, which is kind of nice. Like
Because it does a siren kind of thing, or?
Yes. Yeah. Except today, for whatever reason, it's like, you know what? I just want to make sure they work. And so I hit it, and my dog promptly woke up, ran out of his bed, and pissed on the ground.
Well, I guess I'll say better your dog than your daughter.
Yes.
Also, small dog, so the cleanup was probably fairly easy.
Yep.
My dog, I don't want to get too graphic, but cleaning up after this animal is like cleaning up after a horse.
My thought was that maybe he was trying to put out the fire.
Nice. Nice.
I hit it, like I was looking at my phone, and it counts down, it goes 3, 2, 1, it just started blaring. The dog just bolts out of his bed, right onto the wood floor and takes a giant piss all over the floor. It's
I
great.
think the one commonality between our dogs is that both would be more of a liability than a benefit in an emergency.
Absolutely agree.
You know, like there's no, like my dog's not dragging anyone out of a fire. You know,
Nope.
this is not going to happen.
Nope. My daughter's going to be telling me to run into the blaze to save little Scruffy.
Sure.
And I would.
He'll be hiding under a couch or something, you know, in one of the most inaccessible places, right where the smoke is, you know, just genius. Breathing deep, you know, like the freak of nature could never exist in the real world animal that it is. You
Look, when your dog's natural predator is a hawk, it's not really.
Yes.
It's not really.
Yep. So actually, it's funny. This since we've been home from my trip, I walk in the neighborhood. I usually see deer, and there's a blue heron I actually saw this morning, a humongous thing. But I haven't actually seen a lot of animals. I've seen squirrels, and I've seen, big deal, and I've seen rabbits. And the other day I was walking, and there was a rabbit up, in the grass. You could see it, like the top of it sticking out of the grass. And I'm like, okay, whatever, it's just a rabbit. And as I'm getting closer, all of a sudden these giant brown wings come up, and the thing took off from the ground. And I thought what it was just a hawk sitting there in the grass. I don't know why, but what I thought had happened, because I wasn't really paying total attention, I thought the hawk had nailed the rabbit. And I literally thought of your dog at that moment. Literally what went through my mind was, I wonder if this is a concern. But you must keep it on a leash or something, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, let's be honest. The dog is not an outdoor creature. He goes outside to go potty most of the time, as long as there's not fire alarms going off.
Right. Right. But I literally thought of that animal. Like I was like, oh my God, like that's it. Because the rabbit is, it's like, it's a big animal and can be. And I thought, God, if a bird could carry off a rabbit, like, and they must, right? I mean, they must.
Absolutely. I mean, the dog weighs like 4 pounds, 3.5, 4 pounds, something like that.
That's amazing. So more than like a Surface Book, but barely.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 2.5 of these guys.
That's amazing. It's fun.
My daughter would be so devastated. It'd be terrible. She loves that thing. She's like, Daddy, don't you just love it? I'm like, look, I wanted a golden retriever. You will understand this someday.
Sure. The number of times I've said something like, this is why I wanted a small dog out loud since we've gotten this animal is just sort of it's reached broken record status. But, there's always an event every day where it does something stupid. And you're like, this is why.
If it was lower and shorter when it happens. It is a nice advantage of having a small dog, small mess, small food budget, if you will.
Right. We have like a bag of dog food in my garage that's like the size of a Volkswagen, And I can assure you when it comes out on the other end, it's kind of the same size. All it does is just push it through, I guess. I don't know what's happening there, but
this show knows no bounds.
It's just
we've talked about human excrement from your basement floor to dog excrement.
Yeah, it's been a nice excrement-free week here at the Rot Manor. For a change.
Do you have a sign in your basement that says 7 days since an excrement incident?
Actually, this weekend I'm going to go buy something. I just have this idea in my head that there must be a sensor that I can put on the grate that will detect moisture and set off an alarm. Maybe ping my phone or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is what we've come to.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have one on my water heater. John, something says, "Wow, my first time tuning in. This is a gripping episode." Like, welcome, John. You are just missing the highlight of First Ring Daily.
Oh boy!
But I guess somewhat back on track here because it's not an excrement, but it is the Snapdragon 850. A bunch of PCs actually kind of came out with this thing. Bunch meaning handful.
Is it meaning one?
I was trying to, I'm trying to be positive.
I think there will be others, but I have a lot of questions here. I went through their marketing material, there being Lenovo's, and it's actually kind of interesting that every fact that they state about performance, about battery life, about the LTE modem comes straight from what Qualcomm said back in June. There is nothing in there, and I mean nothing, that is new information that contradicts what they said or is better than what they said, whatever. Like it literally just, here's what they said it was. We assume it's true. We don't know. and here's the information. So what this basically means is that we don't know anything new. I'm glad there's a machine out. It looks nice, by the way. It's a nice looking machine, but then so's the HP NVX2. It's a beautiful machine.
Sure.
30% better performance. What's 30% of 0.001?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I need to see this thing in the real world. I desperately want this to work.
Yeah, and 30% better in what category? Opening Paint or browsing the web?
Right.
I mean,
right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, since I've been home from Sweden again, I got my HP Envy XP. Actually, I had loaned one to Mary Jo, and she gave me the one she got directly from HP, I guess. And so she's sending mine back because the idea was, well, maybe some of the problems you were seeing was because it was a pre-production unit. And so she sent it to me, in S mode and, with the newer build and blah, blah, whatever. And it's just, it's no good.
Did you ship it in S mode because you thought it'd be safer, like putting air pockets around it and ship it in S mode? Things are less likely to break.
Right. I talk about this too much. I write about this too much. This is in the Ask Paul thing I'm trying to get published today. I can't stress this enough, and I know there are some people out there who kind of disagree with this, but they can never say with any certainty why, even though they believe otherwise, which is that S mode has some point for some people or it works well for some people. And no, it doesn't. It doesn't work well for any people. And I know when you say something that black or white, you're going to get a lot of pushback from people, but there is literally no reason to run this thing that isn't theoretical. And there are tons of reasons not to run it that are real world. And I'm just, this guys, if you consider yourself part of the kind of Microsoft community or the Windows community, you got to get out of this it's good enough groupthink thing. It's not good enough. It isn't good enough. Nobody wants something that looks like Windows that isn't Windows. It's that it doesn't run Windows apps is the problem. That it may have better security is a theory. That it may have better battery life is a theory. That it may have better performance over time is a theory. That there is some major company rolling this out to thousands of people is a fantasy. It's not happening. And there's a reason it doesn't work. And I don't understand, well, it's okay for me. I just need Word and Excel anyway. Guys, someday you're going to need a firmware update or a driver for a printer or an application that you don't even know about yet that's out on the web. And guess what? It doesn't work. This will affect everybody. And people who think they're doing something good for a family member by giving them the thing that's not going to break as much, it's going to break more because it doesn't work with everything. It just doesn't make any sense.
The biggest thing in my mind that Windows 10s would have fixed, but the problem is Microsoft gets too much credit here, and they should, is that for the average user, now, granted, people are going to tell me otherwise, and I know they exist, but viruses, Microsoft has done a very good job of protecting Windows from a virus with built-in protection. Yeah. And that was one of the main complaints that Windows 10s would have fixed. Like if they would have come out with 10s when Vista launched, that would have been pretty ideal.
I do agree in some kind of vague and again theoretical standpoint that we need to move past the legacy past, the Win32 stuff. I also understand that we really can't. I mean, not really. So what do you do with this system that's based on Win32 when you're trying to get rid of the thing that is the thing? Like what's the solution? The solution is not arbitrarily deciding that you can't install any of these applications. The solution is to provide a way where you can install and run those applications safely, and that there must be some container-based solution similar to what they're doing in the Windows Store with Desktop Bridge or whatever that will let you put Chrome on that thing and never have to worry about it causing any problems. That you can delete a single file and it deletes all of Chrome. That the file system is virtualized for that application automatically. That's the solution that works for people. So when you buy that new all-in-one printer and you plug it in and it says, do you want to install the driver and all these utilities? You say yes, and it just works. It just works. And it's safe. You don't just turn it off. The car is going to be really safe because we took off the gas pedal. You can't go anywhere. No, that's not the solution. I just don't. God, we compromise so much for no reason. And like the things that people think are so important, are just theories. And then you lose so much. And I have a hard time with this, obviously. I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we keep doing this to ourselves.
Gotcha. Do you have any opinions about Windows 10s?
Oh my God. Let's talk about Surface Go for a few minutes, shall we? God. It's like you're going to spend your whole life trying to make something work instead of just using something that does work.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a limited version of the Windows that we've known and loved for whatever 30 years. Well, 20 something years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I was going to say no one tolerates, but yeah, no, I mean, the things that I
Fair.
no, I mean, I mean, by nature, the thing that I do for a living, I have spent an incredible amount of time investigating store apps over the years, as they were called different things, trying to find ways in which these things makes any amount of sense ever, and that I could replace something I'm using with this other thing. And I'm looking at my taskbar right now, and I got to tell you, the only thing that qualifies on that list is OneNote for Windows 10. It's the only one. Someday soon, I will be forced to use Skype in that form, and I will resent that. I have had much better success replacing desktop applications with web applications. Much better success. Mm-hmm. And then in some cases, I've had no success. There are certain desktop class applications that I just have never found a suitable replacement for of any kind.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing. And so I've got two. I've got Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, but Spotify's actually a desktop app.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's not a true store app. It's just one that they shoved in there. So I've got Spotify and OneNote. I used to have Newton Mail, but that's...
Yeah. I mean, actually, I have Adobe Photoshop Elements, and it is the store version of the app. But understand, please, this is an example of what the world should look like. What do you say? Spotify and Photoshop Elements are both desktop applications. They've been made to be more safe and reliable and potentially secure on Windows 10, any version of Windows 10. Well, except for Windows 10 on ARM, which is another awesome compromise. But let's not get sidetracked. That, I think, is the hint at how this thing should work. You could call that S mode at an application level, And that, to me, that's the right kind of it's not even a compromise. It's beautiful. It's something that keeps the integrity of what we think of as Windows, mm-hmm. and it doesn't force the user to be the one that has to make all the changes. You don't even have to know that it's doing this. It just works. It's perfect. Other than the discoverability, I guess. But I mean, when you go to the store and you see good desktop applications like Microsoft Office, Adobe Photoshop, Spotify, that's when that thing starts to make sense. That's everything you need to know about the store. Those aren't really store apps. You know what I mean? Like mm-hmm. This thing has failed. This stuff is kind of the way forward. It's not this hard stop, total change. It's something that lets us bring what we need from the past forward.
You got anything else on your chest? What else is pissing you off in the Microsoft world?
I know. What happened? I don't know. I was just writing this article, and I'm just reminded of someone on Twitter was doing this to me today too. It's like, well, no, I find that it works fine for me. No, you don't. You don't. You can't say that. Like it's like when people were choosing Windows Phone late in the game, mm-hmm. and they were like, oh, it does everything I need. How do you know that? You don't even have a perception of what you're missing. I mean, for every person that is kind of holding on to this old thing from the past, there are thousands who have moved forward and been like, geez, why did I wait so long? There's so much more stuff here. It's so much better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to go off on this rant. I don't know what's happening. I didn't sleep very well. I don't know. It's just, I don't know what it is.
Started with excrement and we ended with Windows Store.
Yeah. Yep.
The only other thing that's worth pointing out was this leaked in hilarious fashion. So we already know what the phone looks like, but this is the new watch that's coming, which I am excited about. And I will probably end up getting. I don't know if I'll get it day one, but I will definitely be probably ordering one.
Yeah.
The brilliance here is how 9to5Mac got their hands on this image and the iPhone, but the iPhone looks like everything else we've seen, is that Apple was accidentally pumping out the live video feed from a practice session or something like that using the same link and everything as their last keynote, I believe. So they were just having it on a test, and they were streaming the stuff, and they still had
That's
that link
really
active somewhere. And 9 to 5 Mac found it, I believe, and that's how we got that.
Is that
guy.
where that's from?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, by the way, the one commonality between this image and the iPhone image
Mm-hmm.
is this new kind of deep, it's almost a brownish gold
Yeah.
color, which I have to say, I really like.
I kind of like it too.
It looks nice across both of those device types.
And this is why I said I may not order. I don't know if I'll get it in a phone, because I've always put a phone probably in a case, a leather case or something like that. The only reason why I say I may not order it day one is because I kind of want to see that in person to see if it'd look good on a watch.
I think it's going to look really sharp. And
It looks good.
it looks like, I don't know if you have the iPhone image available, but
No, I
you
don't.
can kind of, well, you can see it here. Like, because the front of the watch face is black, right?
Mhm.
And part of that is full, I guess most of it is full on screen. I guess it's kind of hard to say, but it looks like the iPhones too are black and this dark gold color, like whereas previously the gold was always kind of like white accented.
Yeah.
Or, the non-metal parts were white or whatever. I don't know what they, you know what I mean? Like when I got that gold iPhone 7 Plus, when you put it in a case and looked at it from the front, you couldn't even tell it was gold because the whole front of it was white.
Right.
I really think the blackness combined with this gold color is what makes this look really sharp. It's got a nice kind of contrasty. It's neat. It's like a nice pro color. They should make their laptops in this color too.
Yeah.
It just goes good
it's
with
almost
black.
like a bronze-ish
Yeah.
color. Like I don't know what they're gonna call
It's
it. but
goofy that I love this so much. I don't usually like. I don't know what the deal is, but there's something about it that I think this looks great.
Yeah. And so that's obviously a larger display. The big question that many people are trying to figure out is that device thinner? It's really hard to tell from that angle. People are seeming to, I mean, it does look thinner than the current Apple Watch, but it's hard to tell. And so we only got to wait, about 10 days, something like that?
Yeah, it's not even that long.
Well, I guess longer than that, technically. I guess it's on the 12th, so.
Oh, so a little under 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So your Apple Watch, what do you have, a Series 2 or 3?
And one. It's the OG. It's the original one.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it works great still.
Okay. So but you wouldn't call that out as being particularly thick.
No. I mean, I definitely wouldn't. It's got a little bulk to it, but I mean, it's not hefty by any means.
Yeah. I mean, the bigger issue to me would just be the battery life. I mean, I would rather see them keep whatever the perceived thickness is, and if they could improve the battery life, I'd hate to see them make it thinner and then have the life go down.
Yeah, although I will tell you that this thing is 3 years old, and as long as I'm not doing exercise with it, it easily still lasts a day.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. I didn't realize that was the first one.
Yeah, the downside is when I play golf, when I first got the watch, it would make it 18 holes with the GPS and everything.
You literally can't make it 18 holes.
No, it makes it about
funny.
9 holes now. It used to do 18 just fine, but
so when you say GPS, is it mapping your exercise essentially? Like it's providing you with like a...
Yep, so it's sending a lot of
what you
data
did.
to and from the phone.
Yeah.
Specifically when golfing, the phone uses the GPS and gets the data and the yardage, and then sends it to the watch, and then I tap the watch to mark a shot, and then just...
you're actually like, you're using it. Like it's not passively mapping, you're actively using it for some purpose.
Yep.
Like golf is an activity.
Yes.
In the
like
watch or something.
exercise.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll end up getting that one probably, but
yeah, I don't see how you could avoid it. It's impressive to not, to have gone 3 generations.
well, the biggest thing, if this thing was waterproof, I probably would have held off even longer potentially, but being able just to jump in the pool with a watch on is
Or stand on the kayak and make a phone call,
yes, yes, exactly.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times that one's bit me in the ass, not being able to do that.
Didn't happen much in Sweden. Well,
no, I could have used more water in Sweden, frankly.
all right, you got anything else for today?
I just want to go off on a little thing about Windows 10s again.
Sure.
No,
Yeah,
not really.
take your time.
No, I do not. How about you?
I was just going to talk about Windows 8 to see if you had any more deeply held disgruntled
Let's talk
opinions.
about the charms and how stupid that was.
The charms bar. Well, the good thing is they replaced it with Action Center, which is just about as annoying. But
Raymond Chen just blogged about the charms in Windows 8 and also about the some of the other little UIs. And I've often told the story about how when I met with the guys who designed this UI, I wanted to get an explanation of names and what things were and everything. And so I asked about the charms, and I said, so what is this thing? Is it a toolbar? Is it a slide out panel? Like, what do you call this thing? And they said, it's none of those things. It's just the charms. And I was like, that's the moment I realized these people had no idea what they were doing. No idea. They had no idea. It's just charms.
You're charming. All right, folks. So that wraps it up for today. We will be back on Tuesday. Monday is a holiday here in the U.S., but we should be back on Tuesday rocking and rolling. And hopefully you have a nice long weekend if that's your thing. If not, we'll catch you next time. Look at that thing.
It's nice.
It's a little busy, but I think they're doing that just to show off how much the additional screen size.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is show that you can have a complex, information-rich UI if you want.
The one nice thing that I do like about this being a, as Microsoft calls it, robot white, is that you can look in there. It actually says there's a UVI index, which I think pulls in from the new weather app on iOS 12, which is actually kind of nice.
Yep. It looks good.
Yeah. All right, go get your haircut so you look good.
I might. I don't know.
Later.
Bye.